Kaboom! Hello, everybody. It's My Music with Graham Cave. It's Wednesday, so I believe. It was last time I checked, but it might not be wherever you are whenever you're watching this on whatever platform you're then imbibing it on. In fact, it might be 5 years from now. If it is, what's the future like? Have I won the lottery? Oh, good. We will be talking to our special guest, Bebe, in a minute. But first of all, we're going to watch this video, which is wonderful. Has lots of people doing psychedelic things, and it has a lovely kitten in it, which isn't even real. We'll start with that comment right there. You're a talented and unique singer and songwriter.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Isn't that lovely? What a great start.
Oh, what a lovely start.
It is. Tell me what you were doing last night then.
So last night I was performing for a charity night. It was the first night hosted by Burnt Toast Presents.
And we've had one member of Burnt Toast on here.
Incredible. And they're fantastic, and it was a lot of fun, and yeah, it was a great night all round.
I love the whole concept of Burnt Toast. In fact, I've said that we must work together in the future because we're all in the same journey. We're all trying to help independent musicians to get somewhere in this ever drowning world of music just being thrown into the big melting pot that is the interweb, and somehow people have to find the stuff that they like. It's difficult these days, right?
I mean, it's sort of crazy. In some ways it's amazing because there's so much stuff to find and everything's so accessible, but like you said, it's so easy to get lost because there's just so much content all the time.
Oh, there we go. The dog's gonna get hold on 2 seconds. We've got to get the dog in. He's getting so excited that you're on the show.
Aww.
I know. I promised you could say hello. I know.
Aw, little sausage.
Say hello then.
He's so sweet.
That's okay. You're happy now? Happy? Sorry about that. He's a big fan.
Oh, well, I'm a big fan of him as well.
He's a big fan, and he realised that he wasn't getting the attention that you were on the show. He wasn't, and
it's fair enough.
And he wanted to say hello to you. Do you like dogs?
I love dogs.
Yeah. Well, he's Trooper. He is the show's mascot. He is a sausage dog. He's a mini sausage. Yeah, tiny sausage. Jonathan just happened to be at home when he saw the notification that we were doing this. This is how it all works. It's chaos here. It's a little bit like, I feel like my show can sometimes be really cerebral. We can have great in-depth conversations with people, and we probably will in a second. But at the same time, it's a little bit like Tiz was, which is a show you might not remember because you're far too young. But long ago, before people like Bebe were born, etc., there was a TV show on a Saturday morning for kids, etc., and it was chaotic, and people threw fake custard pies in people's faces and got slimed and went. It was madness. And I mean,
chaos I can relate to.
Tell me why you can relate to chaos.
I just feel like my life is chaos. But like in a good way sometimes. So,
Is there, without being rude, is there neurodiversity there at all with you?
Oh, yeah. I have ADHD.
There you go.
So, a lot of chaos. Involved.
You're in great company there with that. How does that, let's go into that a second, but how does that impact you in terms of music and what music does for you, but also, what does it make difficult, and how does it empower what you do as well?
Oh, that's a good question. It's a big question. Well, I mean, I guess it impacts everything I do because it's just my way of being. And when I was diagnosed with it sort of was the big propeller into me really going into music and songwriting, because I've always done it and I've always loved it, but I just never sort of had the confidence to do it. And then I sort of realized that it was the one thing that I could actually focus on, like all my attention I could put into it. And I could talk about it for days. I could just, listen to music for days. And I just thought, why?
Is your ADHD, is it a hyper focus that you have?
Yeah.
Okay. So for people that don't understand this, once you get focused on something, that's it, right?
Yeah.
There's no kind of forgetting about it and just sort of like being lapsadaisical in the day and going, right, okay, I'll just, put that over there now and then kind of forget. You're there. You want that to be right, and you want the, you're not going to put that down until it's what you want it to be, right?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds amazing when you put it like that, and it is like that, but you don't always get to choose when it happens, which is the annoying
part. Too right.
So you're just sort of like, when's it gonna kick in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, I think it does. I think I think what it does is it also means that you see the world in a slightly different way as well from maybe other people that don't see the world in that way. I mean, for me, we're all on the spectrum somewhere. It's just we're on different spectrums, etc. And we all, we all have different ways of perceiving the world. But I think one of the things that things like neurodiversity does is it produces a way of thinking about things that is perhaps not logical to other people, is perhaps, sees the connectivity between things that other people wouldn't see. And I think that's great in the arts and in anything that's creative, because you can make those little connections between this and that, and actually bringing people that aren't neurodiverse into your world shows them a different version of the world, which I think is a beautiful thing, and
I agree.
I think some of the best artists in the world have done that for people. I think it's why a lot of people got so upset when Bowie died, because I think one of the things that Bowie did was show people a different version of their world. Yeah,
completely.
Yeah, you get that.
And 100%. I mean, I'm a massive fan. My dad is something he always spoke to me about, the moment on Top of the Pops when he played Starman for the first time, and that it was just like so other and nothing had ever been like it. And I just think that's so wicked, like that someone can do that, and quite brave as well, to just be like, okay, I'm just gonna do me and change the world.
You sing about dopamine and energy, and you've got if people haven't seen your music or your videos, you have got so much energy. You're like you're like the Duracell bunny on double batteries, right? Which I absolutely adore. How do you navigate the modern world where everything is a hit, and why do you feel the need to sing about that? What do you think it's doing to us all?
Who navigating the world is confusing, to be completely honest, because I do have a lot of energy, and something I've always found interesting, because I was diagnosed as an adult with ADHD, and they always say that girls present like a bit differently to boys and less obviously hyperactive, but I think I have always been quite obviously hyperactive, but it's not to say that I'm like that all the time, because sometimes the sources end, the resources end, and I'm like a little puppy. I'm either on running around, or I'm just like, ugh.
That's why we brought him on as an illustration. You see,
yeah.
He's been fast asleep. This is why I didn't even know he's there. I must stop making this mistake. He's literally been, because little sausage dogs, they crawl under a blanket and they hide, and you don't even know that they're around, so because they're so tiny.
Yeah.
And he's actually been under a blanket on the floor, because we have them all around the house, so he can just hibernate. And he's
sweet.
there. But then when he's turned on, when it's, he's like, and he's like, and if I let him out into the garden now, he'd be like, and then suddenly it'd die again. And it was like, and a lot of people with ADHD are exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's like, but then when it comes down, it's like,
yeah, it's just like, I think that's the interesting thing as well. I think a lot of people don't realize that, because obviously that's the part that you don't go out into the world with necessarily. That's the part where you sort of cocoon away in your room, and you're just like, everything's too much.
You don't want to show people that bit. You don't want to show people that, but do you ever want to sing about that? Do you ever want to write about that in a way? Do you want to ever show the,
I guess that's like part of the reason why I wrote, well, I've got some other songs I haven't released that sort of talk about it as well. Why I wrote the song Don't Have the Dopamine is I sort of wanted to talk about all sides of it, and how it can be such a contrasting thing of, you really feel opposites on different days, and it's so weird to navigate that and to make sense of it.
Because when people see you, it's like, people see me on this and they go, "God, you bring the energy, and you've got so much energy." What they don't see is like afterwards, when you the camera switches off or whatever, and you have to go out into the garden, and you're like, They don't, people don't see that, like, you're expelling a lot of energy, right?
Yeah.
It's great. It's great for when you're in front of people on stage, right? Jonathan loved it last night. I bet he loved your energy. I bet you were bouncing up and down on that stage.
Oh, it was truly unhinged.
Like a wild animal, and people, you will be a great you will be a great person in front of people on the stage, right? Because you'll bring that energy. And it's like, when I was a singer years ago, I couldn't stand, I had this conversation the other day, I couldn't stand going to watch other singers where it was like, and I was like, in my head, I used to like just watch other people, and I'd be like, I could do that better than that, because I could go up there and I'd entertain this audience. I just want to, like, this is especially when they're like, someone's playing a really kind of bouncy song or whatever, that's got, would get everybody going, and you just think, why are you not feeding on this energy? Because there's so much there could be so much energy in this room right now.
I think it's funny that you say that, because I feel like my whole life I've sort of, whenever I've watched anything, whether it's like a concert or a play or a musical or comedy, I always watch the things that people interact with and the things that make people engaged. And I guess because my attention span isn't always the best, I really remember the things that keep me engaged. And I'm always thinking like, okay, well, what can I do? How can I add that in here? And how can I sort of translate that into my own performance. But also the other thing I love about performing, like you said, is as someone with so much energy, in a lot of spaces in life, I feel the need to mask a bit, or
You can't let that energy show, can you? I mean, it's just not done.
Yeah. But then on stage, it's so appropriate and it's such a freeing feeling. You can just be completely yourself. And like, if you say something weird and just completely out of context because your brain's gone there, normally people just find it funny and they're like, oh, cool.
I totally get it. I mean, it's like when you go to the shop sometimes, right? And you can get really excited by like stuff in the shop, but you you can't get too excited in the shop because other people start looking at you. It's like, oh my goodness, look at this. Oh, and they've got this as well. And it's like, because it's a massive dopamine hit, isn't it? It's a great dopamine hit. It's like, wow, fantastic. New toys, new things to play with. Show me this. I want to see this, but that's, in that situation, it's like, I have to bring it down a level. But on stage, that's a completely different matter. There you can be you for those moments. And that's really, really powerful. When did you start all of this? When did you first realize that music was your thing, but also that you had a voice? Because you have got a voice.
Thank you. I've always been musical. And I loved it at school. I sort of did every extra music-y thing that I could.
Love that.
And then I actually went to drama school originally, and sort of was set on going into acting. And I think deep down I always wanted to do music, but I was just sort of like, no. I used to get the worst stage fright singing in front of people. I just completely froze up.
So did going that route, because my son went to sort of he didn't do A levels, he went straight to acting college, and then went on to do film. But did that kind of, because you have to do all of the discipline of that. So you will do singing in that as well, but you'll do acting and you'll do sort of like behind the scenes. And did that help give you confidence in some ways?
I think so. It was a weird one because I never the stage fright didn't come with acting. I got nervous naturally, but it wasn't the same feeling. I think the thing with the singing and the stage fright is, especially in lockdown, it sort of all happened in lockdown. I got my ADHD diagnosis. A lot of things were going on. So I was sort of having a big rethink. I think as a lot of us were, like, what did I want to do? Was I happy doing what I was doing? Yeah. Why am I inside still? And well, I just completely lost my train of thought.
You were saying that the stage fright thing, sort of kind of, you were dealing with it through the change in lockdown. That's where you started thinking about, how that was going to work, really.
And I think I knew I wanted to do music. I knew I wanted to write songs. I grew up watching like every single music documentary. All my heroes were, songwriters and singers. And
you'd done the research.
I'd done the research. And actually I always think a big part for me, how people often say that Starman on Top of the Pops was their moment of, oh my goodness, like I want to be like that. Weirdly enough, I remember watching the 1975 on the Brits, and they did Sincerity is Scary, and Matty Healy was on his like little thingy. I can't remember what it's called. Like a treadmill sort of thing across the stage.
Yeah.
He was sort of like swaggering along it, and the song was amazing. And I just was like, I want to be there. I want to do that. And I just got bored of being scared, and I just decided I just have to do it and go over it.
There's a soundbite right there for you and for me. I got bored of being scared. More people in life should do that, shouldn't they? More people in life should stop being boring and stop being scared. Well, stop being scared of life and the possibilities of life, and actually just take the bull by the horns and actually do it, because we only live once.
Yeah. And you know what? I think a lot of times, and it shouldn't take these things, but sometimes it does. Like, a lot of times something sort of earth-shattering happens, and then you think, I don't know, it just makes you rethink your perspective, and you just think, well, why am I wasting my time being scared of these things when all these other things completely out of my control could happen that are far scarier?
Yeah.
So
do you know what, in years to come, when we look back, because I've done so many of these interviews now, and the amount of times that people have talked about COVID and the lockdown period, etc., as a kind of incubator for their creative career, as it were. And we will look back in years to come and we will go, none of these artists, boom, 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 will have existed if it wasn't for that time when we went through that horrendous thing together.
Yeah.
But and that's probably the same throughout other periods of history. We probably wouldn't have had various people be prominent in positions or whatever if it hadn't been for wars. It would probably, it sometimes takes these major global humanitarian or humanity-based events to happen in order to enable a generation of people to find themselves in a way that they perhaps would have just gone with the flow instead.
Yeah.
So you're right. I think it's incredibly powerful thing that we've all lived through. It was a horrendous thing. I don't think any of us will ever say that we wanted it to happen, but I think a lot of good has happened out of it, in terms of, and especially with regards to music. If we get people like you coming out, writing songs, getting up on stage, entertaining people like Jonathan, that's a brilliant thing to have come out of all of that tragedy and all of that that nastiness that happened, that we all had to live through.
And I think that's, just part of the human experience as well, because we all go through horrible things in our lives at some point or another, and it's sort of finding the good things that come out of that is what keeps us going, really.
Yeah.
So
how do you write your music? How do you? I mean, I can see a guitar there in the background. There's a guitar and there's a nice red clock. Does the clock feature in the music writing at all? Or is it just a guitar?
No, it's not actually my clock.
Right,
I've no attachment to that clock.
So do you normally start on the guitar, or you do is there a method, or do you have different methods every time?
I would say I have different methods, but I would say usually how it goes is my phone notes are just full of lyrics.
I love that.
Or just, I think I write lyrics more than anything. I just constantly
Can I ask you a question at that point, just because I'm really worried about you? Do you actually ever send those notes somewhere just in case?
No.
Right.
Some of them are written down. Some of them get written down.
Maybe start. Maybe just maybe just have an email address that you send them to. Just because
you're right. You're 100% right.
I'd hate for you one day to lose your phone. You will be up the wall.
Yeah, it wouldn't be good. But yeah, I write a lot of stuff down, and sometimes they're not they're just fragmented things, and I'll have them all in one note, and then maybe I'll come and steal something out of it later. I would say probably, I know other people find this, probably the best songs. I don't know. Some songs I write and they just come to me very quickly. I can sort of hear them in my head, and the words come very quickly. And then it's normally from like a very specific thing that's happened or a feeling. Yeah, and those are my favorites, but
Of course.
they're rare. They're rare happenings. Yeah.
And other songs you have to really persevere at and, work on. And, you might have a fragment, but then you have to develop that fragment, and then you have to develop another fragment, and slowly but surely you put it together, and it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I do you know what? I think a lot of people are the same. I think the important thing is always to just keep writing. That's the important thing, because it's like a muscle. If you don't use it, it withers.
100%. I also think, just making sure that your inspiration tank is always full as well, like reading. And I love stealing phrases and words from books or shows that I've seen or anything like that. Even quotes from people. I think, ooh, thank you, I'll have that.
Well, it always amazes me that so many people out there are devoid of inspiration. Does that amaze you in a way? I mean, it's like, I can go on social media platforms and like there's so many of these posts where people go, here's 10 ideas to post about. It's like, well, have a life. Then you will know what to post about. I mean, the worst thing in the world, in a world where we're all trying to be authentically us and actually show something of us, because that's the important thing, right? Is everybody copying everybody else because somebody says this is a great idea. I think, if you want to find inspiration, if you want to have ideas to think about, just walk out the door.
Yeah.
Go and find a group of people. There'll soon be something there.
100%. I do understand where that feeling comes from, in a sense, because I think social media can feel so. Someone described it to me the other day. It's like social media for musicians is like homework. It's sort of like you have to do it and you have to be so on top of it. And because it's such a constant thing, it can make you feel, and it doesn't necessarily always feel creative. So I think sometimes it can be easy not to think creatively about it in the sense that you would about songwriting or something, because you're just like, I need to make some content and I need to do this stuff, and it just makes you feel a bit burnt out by it all. But 100% the way to solve it is to just live your life, maybe ignore it for a few days, and something will probably come to you.
Or work with people like me. Started working with various bands actually on social media, and I think one of the things that helps in terms of that is, in the same way as a lot of songwriters will do over a period of time, is collaboration. Sometimes what all you need is to be working alongside another creative so that you spark together.
100%.
That's why I do it. Because
100%.
Ultimately, trying to come to the table day in, day out with something fresh, something new, something, on your own, that's hard work. But if someone comes to the table and goes, do you know what? Why have you thought about, why don't we do this?
Yeah.
No, never thought of that. But then your creative brain will take over and go, yes, I could do that. That would be great. And actually we could do this. And then you're off. You're gone. Yeah.
100%.
Works, doesn't it?
It does. And I think the other pitfall that people come into a lot is that just overthinking it And actually, if I think about the things on my Instagram that have the most views and the most likes, they're just like maybe 4 seconds long of something really stupid. And I never would think that that would be the thing that people pay attention to. But sometimes it's just like, if you've got a film of you being stupid, just post it, because people enjoy just seeing you be you, I think.
Do you know what? You're totally right. I've only recently started doing TikTok for myself, because I've been doing TikTok for clients for ages. And I was kind of like, do I really want to do TikTok myself? Because I'm so like, you know, time wise, there's so many platforms that I have to spend quite a lot of time in. But then I thought, do you know what? I'm going to apply my own logic to this. I'm going to make it fun.
Yeah.
I'm just going to make it fun. And I think my most watched TikTok so far was just me saying, why on earth are you watching this? I'm hanging the washing out. Do you know what I mean?
That's a good one.
But do you know what I mean? It's just like, I almost feel like I could do a whole series. Like, you know, why are you watching this? I'm cleaning the toilet. You know, it's just
100%.
But ultimately, it's actually just about having that kind of creative idea around, creating a mechanism that you then feel comfortable with, and go, actually, I can push this mechanism very easily. I can do it in a short period of time. But it's analysis as well. It's about looking at what people is working with people, and you know, then replicating that because it's working. So, you know, but yeah, collaboration I think is a huge thing.
Yeah.
What's your ambition?
Ooh. Ooh. Well, if we're going just full on, you know, dream world, which why not?
Yes.
You know, I want to be on the pyramid stage at Glasgow,
singing
songs,
which is coming up soon. So you better get a move on.
I know. Well, I'm going for the first time this year. I'm so excited. Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah. Are you going to take a guitar? Are you going to play?
I wasn't planning on taking a guitar.
You see, wrong mistake. I would have taken the guitar and found a space and play.
That's a good idea.
Maybe
I'll do that.
Yeah. You know, I've been to lots of festivals in the past.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of the things that I found was, if you have an instrument with you, there's always a space, especially somewhere like Glastonbury, there's always a space where there will be quite a group of people. And if you just pick the right time, when maybe there's a lull in everything else that's going on, you pick the right space and you've got a guitar. It's just where you keep it safe. That's the only problem.
Yeah.
You know, just find someone nice at the WI tent or something that will lock it up for you at night or something. But if you can have an instrument there and you can just find a space and play, you will get a crowd. And there you go.
Magic.
It is. It's magic. You'll enjoy Glastonbury, but ultimately you'd love to be up there on the pyramid stage, headlining Glastonbury. Why not? Why not? Absolute dream.
That and Riverside Stadium as well.
Because it's your stadium.
Yeah. And I saw the Killers there, and it was just the best. It was so good. There's
nothing quite like a homecoming when it comes to music. I think sometimes where the people that in the local area that have helped you and developed you and brought you on and all of those things. Sorry about the dog.
That's
he's
right.
he's just so excited to see.
Oh.
But yeah, I think there's something magical in that. So what are we going to see out of you for the rest of? We're 6 months into 2023. Can you believe that, folks? What? Yeah, I know, frightening, isn't it? What are we going to see out of you for the rest of 2023?
Well, I've got a live version of my song "Don't Have the Dopamine" coming up Friday.
Yay!
Woo! And it is just I think it's a very good summary of what coming to one of my shows is like.
That's what I like to hear. Yeah.
Because it's just pure chaos. Yeah. Do I get the words in it? Yes. Actually, the first time I've ever performed that song and not got the words wrong was yesterday. And I've performed it a lot of times.
There you go, Jonathan. You were at first yesterday.
And I was like, should I release this because I get one of the words wrong? And then I thought, yeah, because that's what I'm like. So who cares? It's live.
I like that. I love that. I used to be dreadful with. I actually was dreadful at remembering the words that I recorded on, the recording of the song. But I was very good at making words up on the spot. Are you quite like that as well? You quite off the top of your head?
I I did a gig once, and I was singing one of my songs. It's called "The World Don't Stop," and it was the first time I performed it live. And the bridge, I just forgot all of the words, and I think I sang this whole bridge in the tune about how I'd forgotten the words to the bridge, which is a shame because I wanted everyone to hear the words to the bridge. But it was okay because there was another bridge coming up, and I'd get them right on that bridge, and it all just melded into the tune of the song, and I could just see my brother in the audience just dying. Like, what are you doing?
I love that. It's great. So every performance is unique, which just like yourself,
exactly.
which is fantastic. So we'll have some more music released from you this year. Yes. And some more gigs.
Absolutely. I'm running a venue in my dad's pub with him called Katzpace. That's where we were last night. So I'm doing a lot of curating nights there, and then I like to play like once a month.
It's a bit like your own Meltdown festival, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. Is that my dad likes to say it's like our own heebie-jeebies.
Oh, right. There you go.
Heebie-beebies. Heebie-jeebies.
I love that idea. I love the whole curation. I love the whole curation bit. I think that's brilliant as well. And I think you and merchandise. You're releasing merchandise as well.
Sort of. We sold a load of hats at one of my last gigs, and my best friends literally hand stitched each one.
Wow.
So we're kind of going. We're doing the
old school
way. Yeah.
Well, that's brilliant. I mean, we went to the Lowe's gig the other day in Bristol, and they'd hand stitched all of theirs. They literally they'd been out to charity shops, bought a whole load of different sizes t-shirts, all randoms, and then sewn their logo on it. I thought it was fantastic. Yeah, I think it's the way to go. Oh, here we go. More from Jonathan. My friend and musician Daisy Shute went to Glastonbury last year. Every day she would go to the different stages and ask if anyone had dropped out, would she like to play, and play the set. There you go. That's how you do it.
Wowza.
See, if you don't take your guitar, you can't do that, can you?
Maybe I'll take a little ukulele.
I've actually got a little story I can tell you there about that. I used to do a radio program at a festival, and we had a bandstand area, and it was for smaller bands, and we did a program during the middle of the day from this bandstand, and it was just really sort of highlighting some of the up and coming talent. They were all bands that were on the way up. But one year, while I was there, this guy came up. There was two of us sat there, and had this guy come up, and he said, "Can I play the bandstand later today?" And the other guy that was sitting at the table didn't recognize him and went, "Well, have you got a tape?" Because it was back in the day of tapes, right? Tapes and CDs. Yeah. Have you got a tape? And he just looked at me because we obviously knew who each other were. And he said, "It's 2 albums in the top 40, okay?" Because it was Ricky Ross from Deacon Blue.
Oh my goodness.
and they just wanted to play the bandstand as a bit of a warm-up for playing main stage that night.
That's so funny.
And the guy still didn't get it. And he was like, "But have you got a tape?"
I love it when that happens. People just like...
And I was like, "I think we'll let him do it."
Yeah.
I think we will. I think it'll all be good. Don't worry.
Man.
It stuck with me forever. But we had a good laugh about it afterwards. We had a bit of a drink later, and whatever.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it was nice. Had a bit of a giggle. So yeah, maybe it's a great idea. Go to Glastonbury, get on one of those stages, do a little set. Who knows? Next year you'll be on another stage. You work your way up to the pyramid stage within a few years from now.
That's good advice.
It's great advice. Yeah, absolutely. And at some stage, I do want to see some merch from you because you like yellow, and I do not have a yellow band T-shirt yet. I have every other color under the sun, but I do not have a yellow one. There's not enough.
Oh my goodness! So there's a gap in the market.
Absolutely. We want a banana yellow T-shirt. Thank you. Let's make it happen. But thank you for coming on today. Thanks for sharing. If people want to listen to your music and they haven't done already, why? Where's the best place for them to go?
Well, you can listen to it on any streaming platform. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm on all the social medias at Bebe Barry, BBE, the BARRY. And then you can pretty much find everything from there. And enjoy lots of crazy posts.
As I say every single time, please support the artists that you see on the show. Go and follow on social media. Download, like her music, send her some money just for the sake of it, because she actually, that's what makes the world go round. No artist, unless there are certain people, are going to make money out of certain streaming services. So please do all of that. And if you're in the area and you can see her playing a gig, go along, give some support, spend some money there as well. Thanks for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. It's been lovely.
I hope Trooper didn't offend you by getting in there and
no. It was an honor.
Yeah, well, he really does love your work. Maybe you could have Trooper on a T-shirt, a yellow T-shirt. That for me would just be.
That would be
wonderful.
Perfect.
You'd
have to
write
do like a limited series
song about a sausage dog, maybe somewhere in there.
I feel like that's not out of the realms of possibility.
I think that could be a great. I think maybe we could collab on that. Until next time, folks, this has been my music. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please share it. If you haven't enjoyed it, this hasn't been my music. It's been a party political broadcast on behalf of the Absurd Party. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye.
Bye.